Alrighty. I have wanted to do this for a while, looking at all of the corners. I'm a little cautious to say, or not to say, four corners, just because the northeast corner is, it's its own project, to be honest. I've kind of been all throughout. In fact, I'm missing a couple dots there. But I want to start actually up in the northwest corner. That by far takes the cake in terms of not only hours required to get there, but just the roads leading to the actual corner are really not very well maintained. Wichita is way down here, so you've got to get up to Salina. You're on interstate for a good chunk of it, but then you go up. So the pictures that I have from the northwest corner are very austere. It was March of 2024. You can see there's still some snow on the ground. If I zoom in, you can see like a little pinned area, and that is what this is. And I believe it's 678 feet from the actual corner. My understanding is that it's where they put the original corner of Kansas in the 1800s, I want to say. So this is actually from the corner looking straight south. You can see that original marker. I toggle between this image and this image. I feel like this is the one that I've sort of landed on as the definitive picture. I like that road that kind of curves in there. I'll let you be the judge. But man, I still just I had a close call getting stuck in some mud up there. I believe it was a snowbank that had just taken a long time to melt. I didn't see any snow, but the road was really muddy, and I darn near got stuck there. Southeast corner I've been to twice. I just put a video up last week of how I drove out there for spring break. I had gone out there in late 2023. This is a video I recorded last week. This is Elkhart. This isn't the actual corner. It's about 8 miles from the corner, but there's a lot here in the city of Elkhart that I could photograph. I like this. It's called Easy Street, actually. I don't know. This photo to me never really, hasn't really leapt up to the front of my list there. But anyway, you get to the actual corner, and I'm putting this in here just because it really shows kind of the landscape. It'll just loop. But that's my fun ladder that I got, my really high angle. And what I think is interesting is if you pause it. So, that's a whole bunch of Colorado there. That's Oklahoma on the left. And that, to me, it's strange to think that is there, but it's the other direction that I'm constantly looking at. You can see my debacle with my double exposure last week. This was a shot from 2023. I don't really like it. This was the original scan from my 2023 trip. You can see the bad film development. It took me getting a new computer to be able to process, all of the photoshopping that I had to do. You can see the clouds. I really had to basically erase some clouds that just never felt right. This is the updated picture. You can see me toggling back and forth here. I'm happy with this. I'm happy that I have more horizon. In this picture, I'm, eye level here. I'm on my high tripod, tall tripod. I think I do like the texture of this road from my 2023. I like how the sun is lower because it was December. But this is the one I'll probably just move with. Moving ahead, moving along, moving forward. Southeast corner is really a slam dunk. Getting there is no problem. It's basically Joplin, Missouri. and it's very developed out in this part of the state. I have this photo that I've always used that's looking straight north, so that would be Missouri on the right, Kansas on the left. I have this other picture that it just feels closed to me. I don't think that there's any sort of plaque. There might be a plaque on this marker there, but to me this is just more frontal and direct. I like that there's sort of a way out of the photo visually. Your eye can kind of just escape. Going up the eastern edge of Kansas, we get to Kansas City, and you can see I've clustered up a bunch of dots there because that's pretty much what I've done. I went up in late 2021. I started this project in 2021, and I was driving up State Line Road, and this is a real affluent neighborhood, and it's very much something I would do to photograph a gutter. What I'll say is there's no sidewalk, and so I didn't really want to go stand in someone's yard. I'm basically standing on a similar gutter on, the Missouri side, and I must have looked like some kind of city worker or something, but just felt sort of, I wouldn't say anyone was watching me, but I just maybe in my own head was thinking like, all right, I just want to get this shot. This is even further up, quaint little coffee shop kind of place. And then we get to Barber Avenue, which is the northernmost residential street on the eastern border of Kansas. And I think to live in this house right here would be really cool. You'd say I'm the northeasternmost resident of Kansas, 1900 Barber Avenue. And I love that the downtown Kansas City's off in the distance there. Of course, this is Missouri. Another thing about this picture that I just am sort of tickled by is if you've ever watched Hot Ones YouTube channel, they have, chicken wings, celebrities eating chicken wings. They get progressively hotter and hotter. Number 8 the last few years has been Da Bomb. It's a really hot sauce, and it's made in this building down here. So I don't remember the company's name, but it's there. And this is notable because it's got a person in it. So Barber Avenue. All right, this photo has never seen the light of day. I don't love it. I can't remember what else. I was watching the electronic billboard there cycle through all the advertisements. I guess I chose something about Heartland. I don't know. Not a fan of this picture. I was in Kansas City in 2024 for a conference. And I darted out one afternoon, late afternoon, and got these pictures. Now, these 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. This is the one I think I've kind of landed on as my favorite. I think just because it's got the big tower. What's weird about this is that it's probably the most of an outlier in terms of how little of Kansas is actually included. It's, I believe, a park called Caw Point Park. So I'm in Kansas, but I'm viewing, toward Missouri, facing toward Missouri. There's just a sliver of Kansas in this picture, this kind of stuff here in the foreground. In fact, I think this structure, these domed thingies, are in Missouri, but this structure's in Kansas. So the border's somewhere right there. Anyway, this is underneath I-70. I really like this picture. It's I think it needs a crop. I always find myself wanting to crop in. I don't know if you can see what that says, State Line. So this definitely also kind of an outlier. So much of my pictures are agricultural. This is just, 50 or so feet off, and there's a person there. This would be kind of a neat place to live as well. It's kind of on a hill. That'd be a nice view of downtown Kansas City from there. All right, you go sort of north Kansas City, Parkview, I think is the community, looking across the Missouri River. What's notable about the Missouri River is that there was a guy that backed a boat in here and he was giving like fishing tours. I mean, it's a sizable river that you can run a fishing expedition operation, fishing expedition business. So I think I like this one. The more I look at these, I just feel like this one. A lot of these aren't toned, so they're kind of flat. We go a little further up and we get to Leavenworth. And I heard about this spot, let me think about this, the year before when I was up in St. Joseph, Missouri. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember the name of this overlook. West something. I should have that. But that's Leavenworth, and this picture is just not usable. Something happened. I think my film holder wasn't maybe in all the way. It wasn't locked into place. Yeah, that would be Leavenworth off in the distance. But the river down here is where the border is. I think I'm about probably, I don't know, 100 yards. So I'm kind of well into Missouri. I stitched those two together. Again, this is really hard to look at. It's just not. I had every intention of revisiting this spot in December. No, I take that back. January. My son was supposed to go to a swim meet up in Kansas City, but he broke his back quite literally, and we didn't go. He's doing great. All healed pretty much. Then we get to, actually that is Atchison. And these are a year apart. My first picture, if I go into Photoshop here, you can see it's just way too, like it's 15th of a second probably. The bridge or the wind, the bridge was probably really bouncy, but I can kind of toggle that layer on and off. So I revisited that bridge. Amelia Earhart Bridge is what that's called. So this one obviously needs a crop. I was wearing a high visibility jacket when I shot this, just so you know. And then we get to St. Joseph. Now, St. Joseph, when I was driving around the city of St. Joseph, I remember getting gas. It just felt like I was in Ohio or something. It felt very sort of Eastern, very different feel to the city than any city I've been in, Kansas. But really straightforward view. I've got a lot of pictures that start to get repetitive because the river's just, I don't know, this kind of was a little sketchy in terms of, I wasn't trespassing, but, I probably could have been accosted and asked what was I doing. That bridge off in the distance, you can see it's the same bridge here. Probably crop that up a little bit from the bottom. Then we get way, way up. So what I'll show you is this. So that feels like the corner to me. Now I've got two pictures. One was taken, let me think about this for a second. I parked here and I walked. This, I think, was State of Missouri Agricultural Board. I can't remember the sign. It seemed like it was, I guess, public land, but it was like state land. And so I walked all the way. It was really hot. There were all kinds of hunting blinds, deer blinds. And then I set up my camera right about here. And that photo looks kind of like this and that. This is actually two photos that I stitched together into a panoramic. So somewhere here, can't really pinpoint where. I've tried, but I'm looking across and into Kansas. That might be Nebraska on the far side of this picture. It's kind of my best guess. Now here I've crossed back to the Kansas side and I'm looking straight south. Nebraska is to my back in this picture. This is Doniphan County, and so for this picture I'm over here. I'm right here where this border is, and I have this street view scene, so I'm just parked right here. I think I very well could have driven all along that road there, not really been trespassing, but you just get these areas where you start to feel like, well, can I? So that'd be kind of something I might consider revisiting. I definitely want to go back up to this area. I've got to get back up to the northern counties. There's 4 counties, Jewell, Phillips, Brown, and Nemaha, I think, kind of dotted along the Nebraska border that I need to get to. But yeah, that kind of is just a look at all of the extremities for the Kansas Border Project. And yeah, hope to kind of wrap what I would call principal photography. This summer, I'm going to be up in Manhattan in July, and so that'll get me well positioned to get these other. I might find that I want to get up there in June. I know that'll just be, I'm a teacher, so I get my summers off 10 weeks free and clear to spend working on this project. Might kind of revisit some of those other areas along the Missouri River, but that is it.